Never in the history of the world have the merchants of obscenity had available to them the modern facilities for disseminating this filth. The onslaught of the communist masters of deceit.
Pinko Commie Slutz. Pinko Commie Slutz. Pinko Commie Slutz. Pinko Commie Slutz.
Go on, fellers. I don't know. I said fellers. That's a new thing for me.
Cellar door.
Fellers. I don't know. Like, sometimes I say things and I'm like, I've never said that before in my life. And I'm suddenly saying it like, this is a regular part of my vernacular.
Yeah, yes, Bonnie, that's called a verbal tick.
It's called echolalia.
I do it all the time.
Which I just have
like
always
making a K sound.
Ooh, K sounds are hilarious. That's a known fact.
To do.
Yes, that's why the Kardashians are, they did their Armenian magic on the world with their K sounds.
Sometimes I just like saying the word juke to myself.
Juke.
As in to move suddenly to one side. Used in football and other things.
Yeah, and other things, yeah. I've always channeled all my ecolalia into like theater warm-ups. So I'm also really into ba sounds. That's just something I did a lot as a kid where it was like, shut the fuck up, Jen, shut the fuck up. And then I discovered theater, and I could pretend like I was just like super committed to these warm-ups. Patika, patika, patika. Katapa, katapa, katapa. Oh, man. And I loved to learn tongue twisters as a kid. I fucking loved it. And when I realized there was like a ceiling to tongue twisters, also for me, specifically, if you haven't noticed, listeners, I have a sibilant S. It's not quite a full lisp, but it's almost there.
Is that the thing that is commonly done in the gay accent that we call a lisp, but isn't actually a lisp?
You're right. Yeah, Marla, it's just my gay accent.
No, I was not saying it was your gay accent. I was saying, is it
Why can't it
that
be?
thing?
What's wrong with Bunny being gay?
100% could be her
Are you saying,
accent.
are you doing a hate crime right now
I'm
on
just
gay
saying,
Bunny?
Is it the same thing that they say, oh, that's not actually a lisp because the tongue doesn't go fully before the teeth or whatever?
It's also what they say for
yeah,
gays.
I think technically, okay, no, Marla had a fair thing. We were just being
Jesus Christ.
jackasses. But
I'm
guess what?
I'm asking
It's
questions
Scorpio
about
season, baby. We're mean.
I'm just following up on...
Did you use your sibilant S for the
Scorpio season. You know what? Look, I'll tell you a secret. I find my sibilant S quite charming. I can try very hard to do it or not do it, but it's very difficult for me as compared to other ways I can manipulate my voice. So that's the one consistent thing. I can do different voices, but I still always have that.
I can do low, and I can do Dylan. And then I can also do John Darnell, which is a cross between Low and Dylan.
Well, you can Jewish your voice up a little bit.
Yeah, but that's just anti-Semitic. That's not like a talent.
Wait, did you say Italian?
I feel like saying it's not a talent is anti-Semitic.
Oh, I thought... Yes.
No, I was just saying their culture is not my costume. So.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so I thought you said my talent...
Whose culture can be a costume, though, guys? I think that's what we should... All right. you knew my thesis before I.
You can also Italianify your voice too.
How many Marlows does it take to change a light bulb? One to call the landlord and one to continue to bother the landlord to change my dang light bulb.
Marlo's light went out in his bathroom.
Can we isolate Marlo saying dang, please?
Dang.
Dang.
My dang light bulb. I love it. I want it on the soundboard.
He says it every day.
A screw that
it's adorable.
had the head come off, so it's a whole thing. I'd need pliers. I don't have pliers. This is the...
We should fake a fall trying to fix it and pin it.
I like the fact that you now have kind of a colonial time where you have to get like a match or a lantern to go into the bathroom.
But yeah, this is the general degradation of the millennial male.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree.
Well, masculinity
I
is
can't count
under
on any
attack.
dudes to fix shit, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Whenever I will say,
chivalry is dead.
on one serious note, when a girlfriend of mine is with or dating somebody, a dude is in a het relationship, and that dude can fix a bunch of shit and like whatever, I'm like amazed by it.
Chivalry is alive. Long live chivalry.
Yeah.
I mean, not chivalry, just like really what you want is some archetype of a dude who just has these skills. They're nothing to him. They're just so easy. It's like second nature to him, but they're so useful to you. The
docile,
the sweet lady who needs something. But I was not raised to like call on men for this stuff. I was raised to like look it up and do it myself. So like I marvel at it because I'm like, you could do this.
This is the relationship that my parents are in. And I think possibly Marlo's parents.
No, my mom is also plenty capable.
Well, my mom is not, and then
all
my
women
dad...
are capable. I want to be clear about this.
Steve's
even the
mom
ones. Yeah, look. I'll defend Steve's mom.
Okay, if we're comparing moms, and like they
look,
needed
my
to
mom could kick
fix
both of your mom's
literally
asses.
anything, that's probably true.
It's absolutely true. My mom's a complete hard ass.
No,
so
sure, absolutely.
So, not that she wouldn't want to. She'd cry about it at some point. But
quite good mechanically and at all that bullshit, and I don't understand any of it. I have a myth that if I just bought some tools, I'd be able to figure it out. But
did you never have a tool? Like I was really into. They had this toy in the no, where it was like a mini woodworking thing. I got it and I was obsessed with it. So which just adds to this series of just
I liked all that shit, but I never
random
got
things
any of it.
I super wanted. Like it was like a tiny little jigsaw, and you had little tiny pieces of plywood, and oh my god, it was so fucking cool.
Did you enjoy it? Did you just enjoy it because it had tiny things and that?
I
was
do
part
love
of your
tiny things.
autism?
Off air, I did talk about my love of tiny things, whether it's in candies or miniatures of any form. A really detailed dollhouse situation. I don't care about dolls, but oh my god, I want. If you got tiny little books, oh my god.
Yeah, no, that's like Lester Freeman from The Wire.
I don't understand either one of you.
No, because I don't give a shit about
I don't understand.
Shit. I just give a shit about artistry, the artisanal.
Sure, whatever. I just don't understand how there's not how people are not having the same intangible delight I have at things being
I know.
tiny.
I feel the same way when people just don't like droning ambient music that goes on for hours, and people are like, "This is boring and weird."
But no, I appreciate. I appreciate the shoes and the gazing at them. I can appreciate the artistry. I can appreciate, even if I don't give a shit. I can appreciate a man sitting down with his foot pedals and just grinding at making things distorted and stuff.
Oh,
that's right. We appreciate.
You know what I've been doing lately? I've been using a soldering iron on my guitar.
Hell yeah!
Wait, what does that do?
Are you circuit bending, Steven? Are you bending circuits?
No, explain it to me.
Okay.
This sounds
See, like it acts as a slide on the strings, and then I use an electric bow to play it as I'm sliding the soldering iron
shit,
up
that's
and
some
down.
Wes Claypool shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it has this like piercing kind of and you use the soldering iron to kind of like play it up and down, up and down. Yep. I find peace in these.
Yeah, it's all artisanry. It's all using your
What was the word you said off air? Tactile hobbies.
Yeah, tactile. Yeah, so Marlo and I, full
to
disclosure,
escape from the drudge of our careerist attitudes.
I was saying somebody.
Hayao Miyazaki shit.
Okay, it's a series of events I feel like I need to clear up. I probably don't, but sorry, guys. This is how my brain works. Marlo's into candy.
I wouldn't
that
say
makes
I'm into candy.
Okay, no, that specific kinds of candy that are like artisan candy that's made in an old timey way that has tiny little pictures of things, and it's really cool. So he got some, and then he showed me a video on YouTube, and then I was like, "Holy shit, I'm super into this."
Yeah, no, Bunny did end up watching like 6 hours of those videos.
I
was
went
like,
time blind.
I want to show you one of these videos.
I went completely time blind. See, this is like Marlo always thinks he's like imposing on me.
I do, because I impose on people.
And like there might be a situation where I'm like polite or whatever, but like most of the time I like if something is like not interesting to me, I'm like I just can't do anything about it. But then sometimes I like hook into it, and I was way down. I was looking up where can I do this kind of candy making. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I saw these videos and I like mail ordered some fucking candy with little pandas on it because that shit's fucking
so cool, man.
A man used his hands
Sponsor
to make
us. Sponsor us, tiny candy people.
Yeah. No, a dude used his hands to make that shit.
I'm very into.
I'm just going full Heidegger.
So anyway, and one of my, I will admit, some of my special interests are this is adjacent to other special interests like I have in tiny things, but also like I'm really into decorative cakes
Design.
And like art that is edible is like a very weird interest of mine that like excites me. There is a site called Cake Rex. Have you guys ever come across Cake
sexual.
Rex?
That sounds dirty.
I wish it was just like hot chicks sitting on cakes, but no, it's a professional.
Are you aware of cake farts?
Yes. All right. Whatever.
No. Cake Rex actually sounds more like
Cake
Goatsy.
Rex, do not besmirch it. It is like professional cakes gone just wrong or wonky or whatever, and it is one of the most absurdly funny things I've ever like in my entire internet career. It's one of my go-tos from back in the day because one, there's like people who ask for ridiculous things from like their local bakery, like their giant supermarket bakery, and they don't turn out well. And I don't know why, but I find it very funny. So these things all cross over. And now I want not only to pull candy, but to get an authentic egg cream.
Oh, yeah. And also, after that, I'm going to develop my own recipe for an egg cream.
Yeah, because I've got...
Bunny has the apartheid
I have the apartheid soda machine. Somehow this is how I'm going to make it right.
Yeah, we're going to sell egg creams and donate all the money to Palestine.
Yeah. There's a Palestinian restaurant, and we'll just go there with it. Pinko Commie Slutz does lib shit for fun. We'll take our proceeds and just go to the Palestinian restaurant I passed by the other day. It is support, if you think about it.
Palestinian food's good.
It is good. I mean, it's probably, I walked by this place. I looked at the menu. It looked really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great. It's got cucumbers and shit.
But I'd love to pretend any purchase is for a higher purpose.
Absolutely.
Bunny, every purchase is for a higher purpose. That's the name of this episode.
Every purchase is for a higher purpose.
Faith is a fact.
Faith is a
Faith is a fact.
faith is a fallacy. No, faith is a
Are you trying to remember what the original
yes.
line that
Yes, he
I
says
don't
faith
remember
is a
that,
fact
dude.
is stupid, and then he goes, faith is a
George Sr. had said faith is a fact. Unfortunately, it was in the Caged Wisdom blooper bonus footage.
Faith is a fact. No, faith is a facet. I almost said faith is a fact.
In other satanic news, you have to explain to me.
Okay, what's all this stuff? That's
Yeah, what's
happening?
the-
We've got Satanic Panic.
And then Steve
2021.
is going to explain what Brendan means.
Yeah.
Wrong
So
name.
we've got a new
I don't
Satanic
care.
Panic, guys, but this time with hip hop, kind of. So
Satanic panic.
there was a mass casualty event at
Which I
Travis.
have vague thoughts on, but
Yeah, at Travis Scott's Astroworld concert in Houston. Now, of course, mundanely, several contributing factors to this tragedy that, it's capitalism. They cut corners and etc. But the hot thing is to say that they were doing a demonic ritual during this concert, and the people who died were actually a human sacrifice. And what's fun is that this is coming from a lot of not your typical just evangelical Christian bent.
they haven't been on that shit in a
Exactly.
while.
This is
They have.
woo-woo people.
They have.
New Age
they
people
go in.
love it.
They go in news cycles, little
I mean, I think really
Boots?
the
What's
I,
it-
I think
what's
the
the little-
problem is really
Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X.
He
was like
giving
the last-
Satan a lap dance and then fucking snaps his neck.
I didn't.
You didn't watch it? Well, it's a great video. I loved
Wonderful
it.
video.
I love Lil Nas X. He's got an
He's a
amazing
nice-
sense
he's
of
a nice
humor.
man.
He's a
But
nice boy.
but really
he
the-
is the funniest fucking.
But
dude.
really, the satanic
Like,
part was the blood in the shoes. That's what I remember.
right? Well,
yeah,
Christians
like
got-
whatever. And he, you know what I
And
mean?
he's a gay,
well,
so-
here we have
Well,
this
the
situation
thing
where
with-
making fun of the things gets incorporated into participating in the satanic ritual.
I mean,
like,
it's the whole lack of a meta narrative thing. I mean, it's as much like a thing where I Love Lucy used to get 90% of the market share on TV, and now the top rated show gets whatever under 20% or whatever the fuck it is, and and it's like CSI Miami, and you forgot that was even on the air. There's no one satanic panic for Christians that they can even decide to latch onto because a new one just keeps coming through.
Well, that's what I'm saying is
Yeah,
that it's a
that's-
news cycle
Right.
that hasn't really changed since the 80s.
I was agreeing with you in adding the word postmodern.
Yeah, it's the postmodern condition of satanic
Yeah.
panic that really popped off in the 80s, and now it's just every perpetual cultural signifier of change is now a new satanic
Or
panic.
joke.
Or tragedy.
Or tragedy. Or tragedy that my thoughts on it as I vaguely heard about it was just oh yeah, that's happened a few times, some of which involve bands I like, and it should never happen, and when it happens, it's because people tried to save money, and that sucks.
well, and for me, I just love how horny people are for the grandiose stories where I'm like, you're not even particularly interested in let's get the bad guys where they are. No, you want a fucking horny story to masturbate to, because the truth in real life that evil is boring. It's very boring and mundane, and it's just the same 5 horrible things in different combinations.
Or one horrible thing
We-
in many different masks.
We know ways to handle large crowds, so people don't die, and
We also know the risk of
you-
gathering people. It doesn't take evoking an ancient demonic ritual to fuck up crowd control.
yeah,
Like,
and crowd crush scenarios have happened
Well, this
all the time.
I want to point out that this reminded me of the similar tragedy of the building collapsing, which had a similar reason for the disaster, which was that there was a system of like institutional support that had eroded, where people were cutting corners and trying to save money. And then in one instance, a bunch of people got crushed under a wave of people. And on the other instance, a building collapsed on a bunch of people. And it all happened in Florida. Both events happened in Florida. You know.
Oh, you mentioned the GNR show to me.
Well, that was the other thing I was gonna say is GNR did the Chad
Guns
thing.
N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Do you know about St. Louis riot in '91?
I mean, I know tangentially of it. But
Well, Axl Rose was in the middle of Rocket Queen, and he was looking out into the middle. And he's like, "Tongue like a razor."
The
Ta-
most riotous. Of
Well,
their
he's
songs.
singing about cunnilingus. Tongue like a razor, a sweet switchblade knife. You
Cool.
can make you baby. I'll do whatever you like, or something like that.
Buddy
And then
approves
he-
of all of these lyrics.
No,
We're
why?
gonna
Dudes,
watch
we don't
this
want
afterwards.
blades near our clits. What the fuck,
Yeah,
man?
it's.
Who
And then in the studio version of this song,
FGM in that pussy.
it was
Okay.
Chinese democracy.
in the studio version of this song, he fucks the drummer's girlfriend while the drummer was out of the room, and they recorded it and put it on the album, which the drummer heard the first time he heard the album and was like, "That
That's
sounds
honestly,
Why?
sounds like
Why
my
are you making me
girlfriend.
facilitate the emotional abuse of your friend group, Axel?
I mean, honestly,
Why?
honestly, I just gotta say, Norway ain't got nothing on that shit.
no."
Fuck you, Burzum.
Yeah.
Fucking pussy.
Well, okay.
Jew hating motherfuckers.
So St. Louis riot, he's singing this song about cunnilingus, and then he spies somebody with a camera out there, and it's 91, and he's like, hey you, security, take this person's camera. And he's like, fuck it, and he jumps in to the pit. He jumps into the people and starts beating the guy and bashes the camera over his head. He gets back on stage and goes, "Thanks for the lame security." And he throws the microphone on the ground and says, "Good night," and walks off. After that happened, the entire place started burning shit, and like 3 people died, being trampled as they were like in
And
fire code.
Arguably, this might have a less systemic proximate cause. However,
That of bootlegging concerts is a systemic cause that was stealing from the artists. But what I'm saying is that in the early 90s, it was a fear of artists to have their music stolen that was not copyrighted.
not the Grateful Dead, and yet there was a Grateful Dead show in, I believe, the late 80s, possibly early 90s, in which there was a point where they were being warned you shouldn't go forward with the show. The weather's looking bad. They went forward anyway. Lightning struck. 5 people died. You know, I mean, these things do happen, and it's terrible every time, and it should not happen. And also, as I immediately thought, like, this happens almost annually in Europe. Like, they have these fucking EDM shit, like summer festivals called like Star Watch Festival, Belgium, and
Yeah.
just 20 people died.
It's the Unz Festival.
Yeah, it's the Untunes Festival, and like they just are like, well, we only need one water station for every 200,000 people, and yeah. But that is a satanic sacrifice to the midsummer gods, actually. That's how they do it.
Yeah, you know who was doing the sacrifice? Live Nation was doing it.
Yeah, and at the
They're
end
like,
of the day,
we will cut the staff.
and like at the end of the
And
day,
also the
like
count.
that's mostly who's at fault. Like and you can blame the artist, and the artist should get some of the blame. It's terrible, and you should feel bad about it. Will the artist get more of the blame because they're the person whose name is attached to it? Yes, but also groupies aren't lining up to fuck the Live Nation CEO. So Lord giveth and Lord taketh away. But
Very true.
but apparently there's a general new agey satanic panic about it.
Yeah, the new age, like, it is very irritating because it's like almost a trend amongst the woo-woo people. Like, and there's a lot to be said of the sort of like new age to right wing kind of pipeline that's manifested in the past few years. But yes, it's certainly a part of it where it's so irritating to me because I'm like, how dare you like want to, explore your intuitive abilities to like do this fucking lame shit. They were calling on the devil with using like this painting that's scary.
Well, in many ways,
So
it can
annoying.
be thought of as Western mysticism catching up to the rest, because when you look at the sort of mysticism movements in other religious movements, you have Kabbalah, which directly led to the Hasidic Jews. And you have Sufism, which you have various Sufi orders who were kind of defenders of ultra-orthodoxy for a very long time. And the whole like marriage of mystical movements with kind of a left-wing or at least not conservative thing often tends to be a Western idea.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. So you see this particular thing a lot lately with people who seem they were just in like the mainstream yoga-ish community or like yoga vegan kind of thing. And
I feel like the Western like New Age movement has had a very special relationship with a very particular brand of entrepreneurial capitalism.
Yes.
That has very much colored it since the late 70s and also bled into it's almost like it's not like, oh, you form a cult to make money. It's like you make money and then you decide to make a cult around it.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm like gonna be like super out of my depth here in many ways.
Yeah,
but
Steve does need to explain Brendan to us later. So
No. That's coming next. But on this particular note, like, because there's also like the question of like, is doing yoga like appropriative or whatever, but like yoga was largely brought to the United States by people coming from the culture in which it
and also
came.
There's a whole NPR or some podcast about the like,
Yes.
weird Hindu
Yes.
connection.
So, and then, but then there's the other thing is that like a lot of the people who made a name for themselves coming to the West and establishing schools of yoga are particularly either were like, yeah, I'm going to do capitalism real hardcore with this veneer or similar hard, or sort of obscuring more hardline beliefs. And it's very interesting.
Well, and that's one of my favorite things is the intersection of mystical, and we've talked about the mystical spiritual kind of tension, but one of my understandings is that capitalism requires a level of mysticism in order to justify itself. That we have to have a mystical, like what you said before about how it has to be more than itself in order for you to really believe in the system because it is so soul crushing, because it is so, and even like looking for jobs is you have to be somebody who you're not, or a mystical version of yourself in order to sell yourself. Like the product itself, either if the product is a person or if the product is a thing that you're buying, it has to be endowed with a certain level of purpose or a certain level of readiness or a certain level of superhumanness that no person can by themselves be, but that has to solve a problem that ultimately can't be solved by that one thing. And that requires making like a leap of faith that this thing that I'm consuming is worth more than it is, or this job that I'm working at is changing the world.
Well, and that is often how it turns up in my experience in the American wellness sort of industry community is doing this sort of rationalizing where you create stories where everything you do somehow is service-based. Sometimes very like sort of grotesquely, like where it's like, I made a lot of money, so I bought this luxury car, but me buying the luxury car like employed all the people who helped make the luxury car, and you know, both at the factory and who designed it, and blah, blah. Like that's the sort of like meditative visualization some people are doing in this space, is not questioning like how their actions affect.
I mean, that's the fair trade label. I mean, that's Tom's fucking shoes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, don't diss Tom's shoes. Somebody I grew up with works for them, and they got mad at me once.
Tom's shoes. I will
I made
piss
fun of
off
it.
someone closer in my life than you by dissing Tom's
okay.
shoes. My mom went on a giving trip, is what I'm referring to.
Oh.
My mom went to fucking Peru and sized up like kindergartners. Yeah.
Sized him up.
Yeah, for shoes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you did not know that?
No.
No, she always loved Tom's shoes. I'm referencing Tom's shoes from a place of deep knowledge and long conversations about Tom's shoes. So yeah, my grandmother was a Tom's shoes. I'll have you know. My mom totally went on a giving.
But
trip
yeah, I mean that
Tom's.
has more to do with, I feel like, ethical capitalism, or the belief in this human, like we are going to take into consideration
Right. Well, I was
every step of the
comparing
way.
that I bought a Ferrari and that employed a bunch of people.
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
Ferrari
which I think is
factory.
different than the mysticism that I'm trying to get across.
My go-to connection with that has always been, I feel like selling indulgences and similar such things are a
Fine practice we should bring back.
well, yeah, 100%. Like, by the way, I will pray for your grandmother's soul if you pay me.
I will absolutely light a candle.
Or turn a candle on.
Yeah, there's always been a certain commodification, even before we became, as Marx says, a commodity-producing society. There has always been a commodification element to some faith.
How am I what I'm describing when I just said that different than like commodity fetishism? Because
I wasn't saying commodity fetishism. I was saying a commodification of certain intangibles that are, ideologically fed to us in a way that you can buy them is kind of what I was.
So, anyways, this series of deaths happened by a crushing wave of people.
Fuck you, Travis Barker.
Travis Scott.
No, it's Travis Scott.
I was making a goddamn joke, and also I do regularly confuse them, but this time I was making a joke.
Yeah, when you texted that to me, I was very confused. Because I know Travis Barker
They
also
are both
in the news.
with Kardashian. Well, Travis Barker is with Kourtney Kardashian, and Travis Scott,
Which is
with whom Astroworld is involved, is with Kylie Jenner.
Which is also seemingly in the cabal.
Yes, that all plays into it
that's
because since the Kardashian / Jenners started their ascent.
Mustafa Kemal Ataturk tried to stop them.
Yeah. So as they started their ascent, they've been prime targets for like, people have been horny for the idea that like certain stripes of rich celebrities are, secretly evil fucking lizard people, etc. And the Kardashians, since they've become known, have been like a really...
it's the anti-Freemason party of today. Like, back then they didn't have celebrity cultures because they were stupid simpletons.
Yeah, they didn't have anything fucking cool, man.
The Japanese were
They had
well
like
ahead
pamphlets.
of us. That was the best thing that happened out of Japan, like just making the royal family not have power but just still exist, is they got to just invent celebrity culture.
Mm-hmm.
They're still doing the best at.
Yeah, no, the Japanese they're years ahead of us, but they were even more ahead of us back in the day. Anyway, so Steven, who's Carly Brandon Jepsen or whatever the fuck?
Let's go, Brandon. Bump,
I don't
bump,
know what
bump,
that
bump,
means.
Bump. Let's go, Brandon.
I
bump,
don't care.
Bump, 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 bump. All right, so the story is, or October 3rd, October 4th, I don't know the date. Fuck you, whoever's fact checking me, our 50 listeners.
There are dozens of
There are
us.
dozens of people fact checking the date. Brandon Brown.
But not enough to send us an email about it.
Brandon Brown, he won a NASCAR race and he was getting interviewed.
I was about to ask, who is Brandon?
Brandon Brown is a NASCAR racer. He won a NASCAR race in Talladega or whatever, and he was getting interviewed.
He won the Talladega Nights. Okay, listeners, we are aware of the culture of Middle America, and so this NASCAR race man was
the Florida Panhandle, Middle America,
and the people.
He was racing the 500 Daytonas in the Talladega Nights,
and he was getting interviewed by a lady, and people in the back were going, "Fuck Joe Biden, bump, 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 fuck Joe Biden." And it was like a cacophonous din. And the woman that was interviewing him looked at him and goes, "Oh, that's nice. They're saying, let's go, Brandon."
I can actually see how that's a little funny. I guess, sure.
And now... since that interview...
you know what? Like, now that it's been explained to me, it's like, okay, yes, that is a valid incident to make a meme off of, sure.
Well, it's now being commodified in every walk of conservative life.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And what I wanted to talk about was that it gets to what we have talked about before about Protestantism. And as the only militant atheist on this podcast, I need to describe this in terms of how the Protestant mind works by coming up with these secret little codes. And we've been talking about secret little codes all night long about what is and what is not Satan.
Dude, secret little codes might be a good episode, man.
And this is the perfect example of like something I noticed in my upbringing as a Protestant child, is that these Protestant people had this like veneer of, people call it Midwestern nice, or repressed rage of all the things that they hate. And so they have to give it these like, oh, dang, or fudge. They have to censor themselves so that they can go into their minds and say the naughty parts when nobody's around. Because saying the naughty parts out loud had this like low classness about it. I remember being told as a child that if I cursed, that like you would be like the neighborhood kids who were Greek Orthodox, who cursed.
Yeah.
Who cursed in their own language and nobody could say shit to them. And so...
oh, man, people hate that. It's like the number one reason to be bilingual in America is how much it bothers people.
Well, they cursed in English too, and my family was not having it. They were like, they are low-class people. You don't want to be like them. You may play hockey with them, you may want to curse, but you don't curse. And so you just come up with these little codes that allow you to curse whenever you want to. And, you know, Let's Go Brandon is the perfect Trumpian conservative
so
version. And
my white side, as I call it, my grandmother had the phrase "full of soup" that we always associated with her. That is my Protestant background that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this like milk toast kind of like we are cultured. We can't.
To me, Midwestern nice really means that you have like a little like gossip circle of women who talk about all the people who got abortions together when they're not in the room.
But you can't say that they had abortions. You're like, oh, she went to the doctor the other week. We all know what that's about.
It's hilarious that you think that anyone would have knowledge of abortions to this degree, even amongst people who feel comfortable talking about
the
them.
Midwesterners are not like us. That's my point. It's not. I'm not talking about.
And
people.
they're all in sewing circles while
they're
doing it.
Well, we're getting perms like it's the 1950s. Yeah, it's the Midwesterners. It's a different universe.
My favorite thing about what I associate with the Midwestern is my grandmother in curls. Did you guys have grandparents in curls?
The exact same full of soup grandmother. Yeah, no, I know what a Protestant.
What do you mean in curls?
They got their hair in the plastic thing.
Yeah,
was a thing.
They were
Why
like
would you
purple
think
curls.
that's a Protestant thing, you fucking idiots?
I didn't say it was a Protestant thing. I said it was a Midwestern nice thing.
I
did, and I'll
where'd that even...
I didn't say it was a Protestant thing. I said my grandmother was like the closest thing to a Midwestern nice, and she always
Which
had
also means Protestant.
Well, she said she talked with a don't you know kind of...
Yes, Catholics don't talk like that.
They curse all the time, and then they
do big hand motions, and their hair just grows like that naturally.
Why does this piss you off?
Well, because particularly getting things incorrect about like beauty and history is like immensely irritating to me on a very disproportionate level. I understand.
See, this is why
I've been
we can't
often
be
in a conversation
overly
though
sarcastic on this because somebody has an annoying amount of information about a selective thing. Mostly, it's
I'm the one who's
Marlo.
on the podcast.
Mostly, it's Marlo.
Like, I'm not saying
You're
we have
blaming
to.
me as Bunny cancels you, Steven.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that no, I have. Speaking from my experience as like a woman, I'm particularly interested in beauty and history, and
As
like
a
it's a very particular interest of mine that I like know a lot about. So I've been in conversations a lot of time with men often who will make a wild assumption to me from my perspective, knowing like the actual brass tacks of the matter, and then everyone just lets it fly, and I'm like, that's incorrect. No, that's like completely wrong. You have a completely incorrect perspective on this moment in history because you have made a bizarre assumption. So I'm sorry if I projected that a little bit onto that
All
moment.
I was interested in
No,
was
we were doing all of that shit, and you should have, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
yeah.
Well, no, and I would say curlers in particular are not confined to any.
If anything, there's a whole scene from Goodfellas that directly undermines this entire premise that me and Steve.
There is a split, I will say, in beauty shop culture that is class and racially based, where upper class white women, typically waspy, were encouraged to no longer seek out like the kind of like weekly maintenance that their foremothers had gone, but also not do things themselves. So like, and that's where you do see a huge split in white and black hairdressing, the industry and like the products and
All right,
et cetera.
I made a mistake of making fun of my grandmother for her hair curlers. I should have said
you haven't made a mistake.
I should have
Don't
said
let them cancel you.
I should have said she really likes making 3D
I'm going to make a big poster
jigsaw puzzles.
of Steven with duct tape over his mouth.
She makes 3D jigsaw puzzles of monuments that are
Actually,
around.
by I mean Matt. Make that and make that.
She also
thing.
has things called calendars.
Oh, that's great. I love that so much.
And
Yeah, no, your grandmother is like my grandmother, except my grandmother.
calendars, because she was on a dairy farm.
Yeah, my grandmother's family landed in like a cult commune that happened to be run by the Methodist Church in New Jersey, and that's how her family came here.
Anyways, this is where Let's Go Brandon comes from.
Okay, I know that now.
Now you know, Let's Go Brandon is code word for fuck Joe Biden.
Yeah, okay. Like,
I kind of love it.
I mean, it's less cringe than a lot of things.
Drumpf.
Yes, it's far,
You know what is
it's
more?
far less cringe than that.
You know what's more cringe, though?
It was an organic thing that literally did happen. It's like it was not written in a fucking writer's room. It actually did happen. And
It's the people's meme.
I mean, it's a thing that happened that, like, what is that not going to become code word for fuck Joe Biden? Like, obviously.
Well, okay, what is cringe is the lib side on the other side of it saying hashtag thank you, Brandon.
Oh, that's the dumbest fucking thing I ever fucking heard. I had to really suppress a lot of terrible epithets.
And I feel like
denigrating many groups.
And I feel like that attitude,
to explain my distaste for
yeah,
that
that
response.
attitude's directly related to Chris Pratt somehow. Chris Pratt, as the celebrity figure he occupies, and the show Parks and Rec, in retrospect, is like this horrible
I am
saccharine.
being voiced by Chris Pratt.
Anyway, yeah, Garfield, Mario, and Marlo, all voiced by Chris Pratt.
He's been Chris Pratt the whole time.
You know what?
Chris Pratt is on our
Marlo
podcast.
is kind of Mario and Garfield, right?
I mean,
I
if
feel
you mean
like-
fat and hairy.
No, I
then
mean like
sure, I
part
guess,
Italian
thanks.
and
Likes lasagna.
and hates Mondays.
You know, okay, so one of my favorite.
Don't you like lasagna?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Who doesn't? Like,
I don't.
well, yeah, but that's because you've been cursed by God.
Yeah, I've been cursed by.
But yeah, no, like, okay, I will just say one of my favorite early, back before I even had a Game Boy, back in the
Whoa, this is far back.
yeah, very early 90s when my parents first got a PC and didn't want me like rotting my brain with the videos. I had Mario's Missing DX for DOS. And that was a remake of the NES game Mario's Missing, which was kind of a early adventure game edutainment on geography and history. Anyway, they remade it for the DOS, and the real premise of the story is the opening cut scene has Mario going into one of Bowser's traps that was baited by lasagna. It is the first and only time that it's been established that Mario likes lasagna. Never mentioned before. And the makers of this version, because it wasn't Nintendo who actually developed it, they just got the license, just like assumed it was self-explanatory that as an Italian, Bowser could set up a like net.
Oh, it's there at lasagna.
Like Bowser,
I know I'm on this mission, but
Bowser had
is that the
a
tasty
net
lasagna?
I'm going to
with
get
a
the
plate of
pussy, but I can't
lasagna
resist the lasagna.
in the middle of it, and Mario walked in.
I'm sorry.
That game was wild.
I'm sorry, Peach. I couldn't get to you fast enough. I was eating.
Okay, so the premise of Mario's Missing DX, I don't know if it's different than Mario's Missing because I never actually played that one. But the premise of that one was it takes place on like normal Earth, and Bowser has a castle in the middle of Antarctica, and his plan is to steal monuments from across the world, Carmen Sandiego style.
Hell yeah.
Sell them to buy hair dryers that he will then use to melt Antarctica and flood the world. It's they're in normal Earth.
He's climate change.
Yeah, so they're in normal Earth. That's not explained. His goal is to like flood the world, which is not a thing like Bowser ever seemed concerned with. And and he's just doing a Carmen Sandiego thing. And like the whole game is like you walk around a city and then like you get like a Koopa with one of the monuments, and then you go to the place that has the monument and you're like, I have this monument, and they're like, well, we don't believe that you're telling the truth. If you really had the monument, you could answer these trivia questions. And that's basically the premise of the game. But it's cool as shit. It was actually a very cool game. I don't know how we got on this, but like Mario's Missing DX for DOS, that shit fucking out.
Well, you're Chris Pratt, and so Chris Pratt
yes.
Chris Pratt
that's fair.
Chris Pratt just explained to us
his inspiration for what he brought to playing Mario. If I was to be cast as Mario in anything, I would very much study his character from Mario's Missing DX.
All right, you heard it here.
Oh, we couldn't get climate change because I had the lasagna.
Yeah, no, I remember the Golden Gate Bridge one, and they're like, yo, it's called the Golden Gate Bridge, but you know what color it really is? And you say orange, and they're like, fuck yeah.
Oh, so it was like a panel of Q&A?
Well, yeah, it was like, you had this whole like video phone system, and you could also like call taxis to drive you around the town. Because you started out in this like palace, and then there was like a series of 5 doors, and there was one of the Koopa kids from SMB3 guarding the exit. And each of the doors led to a different city where Bowser like fucked shit up. And you had to solve the problem in each of the doors. And then when you did all that, you'd be given a fire flower, and then you could pick up the fire flower and you threw a fireball at the Bowser kid, and then you'd go upstairs to the next level and repeat the process. It was the basic structure of the game.
All right.
Yeah, anyway, this has been Marlo's in-depth explanation of Mario's
Take that, Chris Pratt.
Buddy.
Who I want to mention was in the news because people perceived a post he made as sub-posting his disabled first child.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, actually, yeah, good. Do that.
Yeah.
Let's let that be.
Chris Pratt is currently married to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and
Wait, he's married to Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, his daughter with Maria Shriver.
Okay.
And it's this post, and it's like she's looking at him like adoringly, and he's looking at the camera. It's a photo, and the caption is like, "Get you someone who looks at you like this," and it's like this very gushing account, but it specifically says she gave me a healthy daughter. Ooh. And his child, his son with his first wife, Anna Faris, is disabled. And people were like, what the fuck? And then put Anna Faris, of course, in the awesome position of receiving tons of support. So sorry your ex is like fucking sub-posting your son.
I will say, for the record, I always find it creepy to describe someone as the mother of your whatever.
Yeah, well, or gave you, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just whatever. Also, you get...
For the dude to say it. I feel like, bitches, you can say whatever you want. You had a baby.
Yeah, she's in your corner.
Yeah, fine. Like, if you're a woman, there's been enough sexism, you can do that shit, I guess. But,
yeah, that's right.
Generally, I mean...
That's the trade-off.
If you love the person, maybe describe them that way rather than your relationship to some like biological thing that happened. Yeah, just seems weird.
Yeah, treat them like a person.
Yeah, this person has traits that I like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're not.
I just find it weird. But, yeah, he probably didn't mean to diss his fucking fucked up kid, but, like...
Well, yeah, he probably didn't, but he is, like, this sort of, like...
yeah, he's a weird Christian.
Super Christian and
like...
Yeah.
God
he seems,
cursed him with a child that had 3 eyes.
Like, he seems... honestly like a pretty okay person that probably in a different, more just time, like, wouldn't be put through this ringer because he happens to go to a certain church that's a little weird, but, like, also it doesn't fucking affect you. But also he's rich, so who gives a shit? Like, I mean, like, whatever. Yeah, I don't care about him either way.
So what did we learn? Capitalism
I learned
is...
what "Let's Go Brendan" means.
Yeah, Brendan.
Brendan.
What do you think of the Let's... You didn't know the Let's Go Brandon either.
You know what? I don't like it because it's like a fucking lame people's idea of like something that is almost funny. You know, like I feel like the original thing that happened, that's very funny, but then to like be like, I don't know.
I think it's interesting as
all of culture.
I think it's all of like the
and
unconscious.
sometimes I like it, and this time I don't like it that much.
I like it as an unconscious of this societal force because Joe Biden, by the way, nobody likes him. That's something that's just come out.
Yeah,
He's farting up everywhere and falling asleep.
He's pooping.
I mean, who the fuck likes him?
He's pooping.
Camilla
Jayapal?
Parker Bowles can't stop talking about his farting. That's what I saw. That's the headline I saw recently.
Yeah, and
I believed it. I did not investigate any further.
He pooped in the Vatican.
Oh yeah,
he pooped his pants in the Vatican.
I mean, yeah, as an Irishman, like to have both the future Queen Consort of England making fun of your GI tract, but it's because of what you did in the Vatican. You disrespected the Vatican.
No,
like,
but no. It's two different things.
Yeah.
One thing was the possibly diaper pooping and smelling up the place in front of the Pope.
Right.
And then the other one is farting for a really long and squishy time.
Which you could chalk up to fucking Republican patriotism, except he also did it in the Vatican, so now you have to question that. That's my problem.
I mean,
no one fucking likes him. Like, if he did more weird Irish shit, I might like him. If he did just like say like, you know what, we're moving our embassy to Edinburgh because we don't recognize the Queen in London.
Do a reverse Israel.
Yeah,
just
but to the UK. Like just move the US embassy out of England. Just move it to Edinburgh and just like say like, yeah, we don't recognize the Queen as the head of state of the United Kingdom, and we call it the United Republic now. Like, I don't know, like something cool like that. Like if you just like, just like rename one street after Jerry Adams, and like you could get me on board. Like more than I thought I would have been for Joe Biden, at the very least. Like if you just got
now
like
you're
super Irish.
Now you're just at the regular amount of liking Joe
exactly
Biden.
Where I thought I'd be with Joe Biden, which is I don't fucking give a shit about Joe Biden, and I hate everything he does, and also I don't look up anything he does because I don't give a shit, and I'd hate it if I looked it up.
Except for the Afghanistan pullout.
Yeah, whatever. That was fun.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, I liked when all those people died.
The people dying out of the airplane.
Off of the airplane.
Nobody likes Kamala, certainly.
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah,
not,
well, that's the other thing. Is
people are
it's
like, where is she? Why she don't talk to nobody?
I mean, like, yeah, so Joe Biden made that, like, one-term pledge, which, like, I barely know that fact. I think I've been told that. I don't think I've ever actually
I don't
heard
think
it.
he's going to follow through with it, too.
Yeah, but no, I'm starting to think it's, like, he really needs to. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like, it's just the worst fucking administration in terms of anyone giving a shit.
And, like, we said that about
Like,
Trump.
who the fuck is going to storm the Capitol and get shot for Joe Biden?
Nobody. He's the Kerensky.
Yeah.
He's the provisional government.
No one is standing up for you, dude. You got no shooters, man. Like, fuck.
Like,
He got no shooters, man.
yeah. Like, nobody likes him. Nobody cares enough to find out what he's done for him because he hasn't done shit for you. And they don't put him on camera because he's bad on camera. They don't put Kamala on camera because she's bad on camera. They only have, like, press secretaries who argue once a day that nobody cares about.
Like, his time was the 1980s when he was one of, like, a million fucking racist Democrats who all lost because the Republicans stole racism from them.
Do you know anybody that likes Joe Biden? Anybody? I know one person.
My dad historically likes Joe Biden. Because my dad is a real sucker for the whole blue collary
Signaling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he likes it. But we haven't talked much lately. My dad was just like, he went to see the Rolling Stones somewhere recently. He's fucking doing his old man shit.
My parents don't like Joe Biden, but, like, voted for him because, like, what the fuck better should they expect? And, like, fuck me for expecting any better. I was raised by liberals. They don't fucking like Joe Biden.
my family's the super ego of, well, if you don't like Joe Biden, then you must like Trump. The constant, like...
I mean, my parents would be there if they didn't have me fucking annoying them. But if we're being honest, it's like every sentence they say with Joe Biden explains why they don't actually like Joe Biden. So I don't know what they're...
I mean, he might...
They liked Obama.
He might... I mean, and Obama was incompetent and... Well, not incompetent. He was impotent.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not defending it. Like, my parents liked Obama. They like Clinton. They don't fucking like Biden. Like, they will vote for Biden regardless of what happens, but they don't fucking like the guy.
If they were to do a little Chinese fire drill, who would they pull out?
My parents would love... my parents like Bernie. My parents would love if Bernie was the president. My parents...
Yeah, but they're not going to put Bernie in. They're...
no, I mean, if
it's coming down...
I'm sorry, I thought you were asking about my parents.
If the DNC does a Chinese fire drill and takes out...
I mean, I think the internal politics of it say it has to be Kamala.
But nobody likes her even more. She's at 28%.
But I think that doesn't matter. I think that's who it is. No, that's like my point. I'm not defending it. I think that's just the facts.
And yet again, the Democrats will be very sad at the tragedy that has befallen them.
Like, who the fuck else? Like, there's no one else that...
Well, somebody suggested swap Kamala out for Stacey Abrams.
No one... Stacey Abrams...
There's no fucking way they're doing that shit.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. Stacey Abrams only fucking exists because she's never actually had a fucking job in her life.
Whoa.
Like,
Whoa.
Whoa.
I mean...
she went on Oprah.
Like, no one actually likes Stacey. If Kamala Harris had Kamala Harris had the good sense to stay home and not win an election, everyone would like her as much as Stacey Abrams. She had the fucking dumb idea to actually, like, win something for once in her life, and everyone fucking hates her because she sucks. But, like, we don't notice that with Stacey Abrams because she's literally not ever done anything.
I will say she is more charismatic as a speaker than Kamala. And that might be the only difference. Like Kamala, every time she goes on the news is like,
I mean, Kamala Harris you don't get to be a fucking DA of Los Angeles and not be able to explain something to a crowd. Like, I mean, not to defend lawyers.
I've noticed this with her, though, that it does seem like it makes a big difference if it's scripted or not.
Yeah,
in a similar way to like a lot of
because Kamala is taking acting classes, and you see it come through when she's like obviously rehearsed her line reading of certain things.
When she's like, Joe Biden, I was that little girl. That was
that little
girl was me.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
The scripted lines really, she can pull it off.
So here's the credit that I will give to my parents. When they announced the VP, one of my parents' friends was over, and same liberal, I mean, you know her, the Joan was over.
Yep.
And so, like, she was just saying, like, oh, wow, it's so amazing that, like, after that at the debate, like, Kamala could, like, forgive Joe Biden.
The little narrative.
Come over to his side. And, like, she's saying this to my mom, and my mom's, like, just goes, are you fucking stupid? Like, I will give my parents enough credit to say that they don't do that incredibly, like, they don't fall for that incredibly stupid, cringe liberal shit that, like, my mom's like, yeah, no, it was a cynical thing because she wanted to be vice president, and also I still view Trump as an existential threat, and also I will always try and make there not to be a Republican president, and those are the driving points of my politics, and they have been for X number of decades, and they're not going to fucking change now. But yeah, I know that's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that buy into the theater of it, and there are people that don't, and people that realize that all these people are just all friends behind closed doors, and that they go on stage and make a show about it, or they go in the committees and make a show about it, and they have to get their bumpers, and they have to get their newspaper headings, and it's the theater of politics that drives politics more than the policy, certainly. But Stacey Abrams does seem like she's better.
I would be. I mean, other than the fact that the VP role also will continue to test the skills that Stacey Abrams has proven herself at, which is to not do a goddamn thing. Like, I do have to hand it to her as someone who loves not doing anything.
Yeah, she's really good at not doing anything.
Everyone loves how fucking good she is at never actually substantively ever doing anything. Ever. She stopped fascism. Like, god damn, she's the best at never actually doing anything. I think Stacey Abrams might just have become my favorite person.
See, I mean, there's...
Yeah, no, like, holy shit, she stopped fascism by not doing anything.
Well, there you go. That's why she could be the next VP.
She did the registered to vote or whatever, which I'm sure, like, also as far as, like, things that don't do things...
The bourgeois liberal kind of, like,
no, I
platitudes.
mean, as far as, like, things that don't do things, I'm going to give credit to probably Atlanta DSA probably did more to make people registered to vote than Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, no, like, goddamn, like, I am so jealous of...
in the time you went to the bathroom, Bunny...
I convinced myself that I love Stacey.
Marlo's on Team Stacey.
Well, no, because I did have the thing recently where I'm just like, you know, I really feel bad for Kristen Sinema. That, like, I don't know why my mom hates Kristen Sinema. Like it's like the thing where, like, my mom's just my barometer for shit. And, like...
We've established that.
I don't know why my mom hates Kristen Sinema, where it's like, she has exactly the same politics as Stacey Abrams. Like... You love Stacey Abrams. You absolutely love Stacey Abrams. I'll never talk you out of that. Kristen Sinema has the same politics as her, and my mom hates Kristen Sinema. Confuses me. But, like, God bless Stacey Abrams. She has made not doing things an art.
Stacey Abrams isn't taking cutesy pictures with Mitt Romney.
Yeah, I mean,
you
again,
know, like, and Stacey Abrams,
she's like jazz. It's
need
the
I
thing she
remind
doesn't
you,
do.
was writing romance novels.
And talking about how Ayn Rand is her favorite fucking author.
Did you say that? I didn't.
Yeah, she literally did. That's a
That's
Stacey.
funny.
You can Google that.
Stacey Abrams said that?
Stacey Abrams has praised the works of Ayn Rand. That is a Googleable thing.
She went all Ryan on that shit?
Like, Stacey Abrams is a conservative person.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, when I say she has the same politics as Kristen Sinema, I mean, she might be slightly to the right of Kristen Sinema. Like,
Yeah, no, and it's like
and like every excuse, oh, she's in Georgia. It's like, well, yeah, Kristen Sinema's in Arizona. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, she did say, she didn't say Ayn Rand, but she did say Atlas Shrugged was, of her 3 favorite books, she listed it number 1. Oh God, it's a terrible
Marlo's
book.
looking very
Stacy, God
curmudgeon.
damn, I have not read her romance
Yeah, no,
novels. now I'm
Stacey
like,
Abrams-
oh, woof, dude.
Yeah, no, because consider
Yikes.
the what. Okay, so remove the politics of Ayn Rand from Ayn Rand. and
Bad. Still.
No, just. But what
Whoa.
is the literary criticism of Ayn Rand? Is the way she handles romance.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, right? Like, so yeah, no. Stacey Abrams is an insane person.
Oh no! Did
and,
Stacey
like-
Abrams just like?
And,
I feel like
she's-
that
she's
one
hid
quote.
The fact that she's an insane person
well, one
from
thing.
my mom
one
by
thing.
not doing anything.
One thing I found out about Kristen Sinema is that she is an ex-Mormon. She was a Mormon. She was raised as a Mormon, and
that tracks.
she strayed from the path and became an atheist, bisexual. So she is the ultimate like Mitt Romney fantasy girl.
Right. Yeah, no, like, and that's a whole thing because, yeah, the general, like, Mormon upbringing of, like, go get 'em, like, extend yourself hyper-capitalism can hold up with if you'd like to like pussy. Like, I mean, can hold up if you're not going to comport with the church regardless of what happens.
So yeah, that's where Kristen Sinema comes from.
Yeah, like, I mean...
And what is?
I don't know.
I assume Stacey Abrams.
I mean, I don't know. She's from Georgia. Like, I don't know. She's from Georgia. She's a Democrat, and she's super conservative. Yeah, like, what? Yeah, whatever. I mean, she's a conservative woman. She wouldn't have been in contention for the governorship of Georgia if she wasn't kind of conservative. And you don't need to ask me that. Stacey Abrams supporters say that as a defense of Stacey Abrams. Like, yeah, she's a very conservative person. And if she was in a position where some form of legislation that my mom was convinced she had to care about was in the hands of Stacey Abrams, and my mom would probably fucking hate Stacey Abrams. And the Mormon thing makes sense because the Mormons lied to Sinema and said, like, oh, you need to, like, do things.
not be bisexual.
No, I mean, well, that too. They lied to her that way. But, like, they also lied to her in saying, like, the way to get people to like you is to, like, work hard versus just lose at everything and not do a goddamn thing. And then everyone just fucking loves you. I fucking hate Stacey.
Yeah, I remember we watched the 2017 rebuttal of the State of the Union. It was like Trump's first big State of the Union, and Stacey Abrams did the response, and every sentence was horrible entrepreneurial bullshit.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I mean, it's just like she lost everything. Oh, well, it was like voter fraud, and it's like, yeah, no, that's true because of the policies she supports. The only reason that fucking certain capital groups are able to capture the electoral system in the South and deny Stacey Abrams a seat is a necessary conclusion of her fucking politics. So Stacey Abrams lost her own goddamn election. Fuck her.
Wow.
That's a good
We
high
weren't even
note.
going to talk about Stacey Abrams, but holy shit.
I'm glad
Again.
I brought her up. So
again, I
Joe
do
Biden,
I
have-
feel like we're
Stacey
hinging
Abrams.
on.
So
Yeah, sure.
Joe Biden,
Okay.
Stacey Abrams,
She's
2024.
okay, I hate her, but she's an inspiration to me. She proves every fucking myth about working hard and having success pay off by showing that if you just never actually do a goddamn thing, that's your best chance. Because when people find out about you, they'll hate you. So just keep yourself deep inside, bury it. Bury it fucking down like Stacey Abrams does. Never show yourself, or else if they learn about you, they'll hate you. And that's my message to our listeners. Because if they do, they'll hate you like Kristen Sinema.
Especially to children.
They will hate you like they hate Kristen Sinema. Kristen Sinema never did anything wrong. She was just Stacey Abrams who won. Who tried to achieve, who put herself out there, and they hate her for it because they learned who she was.
That's right, listeners. Marlo is defending white women.
Inside you, there are two wolves. There is Stacey Abrams and Kristen Sinema.
And he's defending the white one, guys.
Yeah, because they're the same wolf, but one wolf.
One?
Yeah, there's a white wolf. There's a black wolf.
Oh, God.
One's
No,
from Georgia,
stop,
one's from
stop,
Arizona.
stop. No, no.
One likes Ayn Rand.
I feel like we're.
The other also likes Ayn Rand.
I
but
for
doesn't
one,
have an
officially
easily
only
Google.
condone the describing of white people as animals. Okay, thank you. Bye. This is.
Free Kristen Sinema.
I feel like she did do some things that are worthy of criticism, but I wasn't coming here to talk about.
Oh, I mean, she absolutely did. No, I wasn't saying that. But yeah, no. Anyway, the point is I could change her, and good night.
What that was, Pinko Commie Slutz.
Good night.